Production for Panther Sports Talk is brought to you in part by the following supporters of WEIU.
Welcome to another edition of Panther Sports Talk right here on WIU. I'm your host, Rich Moser. We're joined by EIU Coach Kim Dameron throughout the season. And Coach, a little different week this week when we talk. We're really only going to talk a little bit about the Ohio game and then what you do during an off week. This is, I guess, unique in college is that you get an off week. Unlike other sports where you have a game every week, football off weeks are usually put in there. And I guess the first question is this one at a good time for you guys where you want to be right now?
I think it's at a very good time. After the first 5 weeks of the season, and the people that we've been, that we've played, the fact that we are a little banged up after a very physical football game at Ohio, and the fact that it gives us 2 weeks to get ready for a tough conference opponent in Eastern Kentucky. I think it couldn't have come at a better time.
Now, we'll talk a little bit about what you do during an off week that's different than a regular week, but we'll recap the Ohio game first. And you guys came out and you kind of pulled out all the strings, I guess, on the first drive of the game and came down and pulled out a big play to Adam Drake, and then Jalen Whitlow has a big run, and you guys kind of got down inside the 10-yard line, and then things didn't go the way you wanted, but you were able to come away with points on the board, which as a coach I know you wanted to do.
Yeah, absolutely. We were going to get points once we got inside down there. I knew that we weren't going to go for it on fourth down or anything like that. We've got a good field goal kicker in Nick Bruno who's really doing a good job right now. And so, I would have liked to have scored 7, but I thought it was a very positive drive. We did. We moved the ball right down the field, had 2 big plays, one a pass play, by Jalen and to Adam Drake, and then a nice run. And so, I thought things were going pretty good. And then we go, defensively, and they showed how physical they were offensively and marched the ball down the field, and they go up 7-3. And to be perfectly honest with you, after that point, we made enough mistakes in the kicking game, and then also defensively, that we really didn't give ourselves a chance to stay in the game as long as we'd like to have, obviously, and we've got plenty of things this week to work on.
You talk about on that first drive, maybe it was an omen that things weren't going to necessarily go your way for the whole game. As a great defensive play, force a fumble on the first drive, and the ball just happens to bounce forward for a first down for them, and they recover it. And you can kind of tell there that maybe the ball was going to bounce their way during the course of the game.
Well, I've always thought that it really kind of evens out a lot of times over a game, but and I also have always found that the team that makes the fewest mistakes and is the most physical normally wins. And that's something that they did, we didn't do. And, they're a good quality football team. They've been to 5 straight bowl games. Coach Solich has been there for 10 years and has really put together a heck of a program to where, they've got, they had their backup quarterback came in, really did well, and is a good football player. Their running back, we bounced off of him. He's probably as physical a running back as maybe we've seen this year. I mean, the kid at Minnesota and SIU both are very physical running backs, but we bounced off this guy a little bit. So when you go and you play a good opponent, we can't, we just, again, we've got to use this time during our off week to shore up our kicking game and also get better fundamentally on both sides of the ball.
Now, during the course of the game, offensive stats, Jalen rushes for over 100 yards. One of the plays that I remember most is in the fourth quarter. I think we're backed up maybe inside our 20-yard line, and just kind of rolled around to the right, scrambled, and was going to get enough for a first down, and then kind of saw that gap. And you saw a little bit, I know you guys have seen that on film at Kentucky, where he has an extra gear. It's the first time I've kind of seen it this year,
right,
where he was able to break off a big run and really put us down for another scoring opportunity.
Yeah, that's something that, with him getting comfortable and him getting to where he feels like he can really cut it loose and go play. It's taken him a little bit. It's a new offense. It's a new system, new players around him. And so it's taken a little bit of time. But, yeah, he does. And that's something that we did see at Kentucky, that he does have that extra gear that he can go outrun people. And the thing about it is, I mean, if you look at us statistically, even over a 5-game period, I mean, us moving the football has not been an issue. Statistically, we've outgained our opponent in every game that we've played. We just haven't outscored them. And the kicking game, defensively, field position, net punting is just something we've got to address this week. I mean, there's a lot of things that, are keeping us from being the type of team that we can be. The talent of the quarterback position and the offense, I don't think is one of them. I think those guys have showed that they can move the football. We've definitely got to become more physical, though, and be able to punch the ball in the red zone, though.
Now, the other thing that Jalen did, which is maybe part of the design of the offense, it might also have been the way the game flowed, is he threw the ball a little bit more, I don't know if than you wanted him to, or if that was kind of maybe situational based on where the score was, but ended up having about 46 pass attempts, and during the course of the game, it didn't really feel like that, but then I looked at the stat sheet at the end and had a pretty good passing day as well.
He did. I think he hit, right at, 60%, maybe something like that. He threw the ball well. He had a couple of times that, whether it be misreads or maybe a didn't run the right route or something like that, and that happens. I mean, you see that in the NFL all the time, with guys that there's a reason for incompletions. But for the most part, I thought at the quarterback position, I thought he did execute well in the passing game. And the game always dictates run pass. And that's why when people ask at the beginning of the year, well, what percentage will you want to who knows? Yeah. I mean, it's we're going to try to win a game. And so as the game progresses, if we need to run the ball more, we'll run it more. If we need to throw it more, we'll throw it more. And that's why you have to be able to do both.
Now, you got a couple turnovers in the game. Every game this year, you guys have gotten a turnover. A couple interceptions. The second one by Anthony Standiford, who you guys have talked about as maybe possibly your best cover corner, and then a young up-and-coming player, Bradley Dewberry, picks off the other one. So bright signs there in that part of the game.
Yes, absolutely, especially with Bradley Dewberry. We feel like that he's really going to be a rising star, just a freshman, and is a quality player, and I think is going to have an excellent career here. And fine young man, good student. Just everything that we're looking for in football players. And Chewy, Anthony Standiford, his nickname's Chewy, but he continues to improve, and he continues to show that he really has some ability. And one of his things in his game that is probably one of the best things he does is play the ball at the high point. And when you see the ball go up and he's able to go up with his long arms and everything, that's why it's nice that he's a long corner that can run.
Now, 2 weeks before you guys play Eastern Kentucky, you get back in. You guys will be 1-0 in the conference at the time. Eastern Kentucky right now 1-0. They play Austin Peay this upcoming week. I guess first and foremost for the off week is to try to get healthy. You guys have played the last 2 weeks without Shepard Little, so the possibility of having him and maybe some other guys that have been banged up back for that EKU game.
Yes, there's two things. One is to get healthy, if we can, in certain areas, and then the other is though to continue to work fundamentally and get better fundamentally and become a more physical, more disciplined football team, and that's something that it's much easier to do that in an off week when we're not having to get ready for an opponent. We can really focus on us and the things that we've got to do, and that's why I practice this afternoon. And this whole week is critical, it's harder to do that when you're trying to get ready for an opponent. And so we have to take this week and make hay out of it.
All right, Coach. Well, good luck on the off week. Next week we'll talk to you. We'll preview the game in Eastern Kentucky, which will be a big matchup in the OVC. We'll be right back with This Week in EIU Athletics. But for those who didn't see it last night, we'd like to congratulate Former EIU quarterback Jimmy Garoppolo made his NFL debut, so the Panthers have now another guy in the NFL for people to watch on Saturdays, or I guess on Sundays. Saturdays eventually in December when they're playing in the playoffs. We'll be right back with This Week in EIU Athletics.
Going to give it to Duncan straight ahead, dives over the top.
WEIU is your home for Eastern Illinois Panther football.
There's some pressure, they block it. They block it at the 5. It's rolling free at the end zone. Touchdown, Eastern Illinois.
Panther football greats.
Garoppolo rolling out to his right. Pump fake, sets up, looking, throwing the bomb. Going for Gober, back of the end zone. Touchdown, Eastern Illinois.
WEIU is your home for Panther football.
Panther fans, here's what's going on in Panther athletics. Panther football drops to 1-4 on the season as they fall in a non-conference game at Ohio, 34-19. The Panthers are on their bye week and will play next on October 11th. Volleyball now 6-9 on the season and 0-2 in OVC play as the Panthers drop their first 2 conference matches at Tennessee Tech and Jacksonville State. On Wednesday, prior to the airing of this show, EIU had their home opener at Lance Arena against OVC rival SIUE. For the results and stats of that match, check out EIUPanthers.com. Women's soccer also dropped their first 2 OVC matches of the season. Their losses came against Southeast Missouri State and SIUE. The Panthers are now 1-9-1 on the season and 0-2 in OVC play. Men's soccer drops to 2-6 on the year as they lost their Summit League opener at Nebraska Omaha. EIU is 2-6 on the season and 0-1 in Summit League play. Women's rugby won their home opener at Lakeside Field over Tennessee 31-17. EIU is now 1-2 on the season. And softball hosted fall junior college games at Williams Field this past weekend. And now here's what to watch for this week. On Friday, men's golf begins a 3-day run at the DePaul Fall Classic. Women's soccer hosts OVC rival Belmont at Lakeside Field at 3 p.m. On Saturday, men's golf with day 2 of competition in the DePaul Fall Classic. Cross country is in Louisville, Kentucky to compete in the Louisville Classic. Women's rugby is on the road in Marietta, Georgia to take on Life University at 10:30 in the morning. Volleyball with their second OVC match of the week as they welcome Belmont to Lance Arena at 2 p.m. And men's soccer is at Lakeside Field as they battle Summit League rival Denver at 3 p.m. On Sunday, men's golf wraps up competition at the DePaul Fall Classic. Women's golf begins play at the Butler Fall Invite in Indianapolis, Indiana. Women's soccer with another OVC match at Lakeside Field as they take on the Lady Govs of Austin Peay at 1 p.m. On Monday, women's golf with day 2 of competition at the Butler Fall Classic. Women's tennis hosts Olivet Nazarene at Darling Courts at 3 p.m. And next Tuesday, October 7th, women's golf wraps up play at the Butler Fall Classic. Reporting for Panther Sports Talk, I'm Brad Kupiak.
Two-step drop, throwing the fade, going for break, and he's got it. Touchdown, Eastern Illinois.
Your home for Eastern Illinois Panther football. WEIU presents Panther Sports Talk. Host Rich Moser sits down with first-year head coach Kim Dameron throughout the football season as the Panthers look to make it 3 OVC championships in a row. Panther Sports Talk will also feature football game highlights and features on select EIU athletes.
Join us Wednesday at 6:30 on WEIU.
Welcome back to Panther Sports Talk. We're now joined by Jourdan Wickliffe, a defensive back, or a safety, I guess actually is the correct terminology on the EIU football team. We were going to do this interview the other day over in Ohio. Jourdan's one of our Ohio natives, but I wanted to give him an opportunity to meet with some friends and family, which probably don't get to a whole lot of home games. So I guess, first of all, what was it like finally getting to play a game back in your home state that's probably not going to happen very often for you in your career?
I liked it. It was pretty nice having being able to have all my family come there and support me. You know, I had my grandmas there. I hadn't seen them for a while, cousins and stuff. It was pretty nice, yeah.
Now, you're from Columbus, and we figured out it's about an hour and a half from Athens. Being in that area, is that one of the schools, or I know there's several Mid-America Conference schools that are in Ohio. I mean, did you have interest from those schools, or did you have interest in those schools when you were coming out of high school?
Coming out of high school, OU specifically was recruiting me. They were, a lot of schools were recruiting me as a wide receiver out of high school. So yeah, they were interested in me coming out as a receiver, but you know, I committed to Eastern, and then a couple of days after that, then they offered and wanted me to come play for them. But by then, I was committed to be a Panther. So
now you talk about that. You actually started your career as a wide receiver. It's kind of one of those, I guess, success stories from a different standpoint. The fact that you came here as a wide receiver, they hire a coach, Dino Babers, who's an offensive-minded coach as a wide receiver. You're probably chomping at the bit, thinking, I'm going to get a lot of balls. And you make the transition to the defensive side of the ball. I guess, how does that conversation go for you as a wide receiver in that type of system? And I mean, I guess we know how it played out, but at the time, what were you thinking about? Do I really want to make this conversion or not?
Actually, I was all for it. I knew in high school I played safety. My senior year, I played safety, and I was all-state. And I felt comfortable enough that I felt like I could be able to make plays on the defensive side of the ball. And we were kind of slim at safety. We had a couple injuries late during camp, so I figured I could get on the field and help the team where I could. So why not play safety?
Now, the first game I can remember is you moved over against Murray State, and I kind of can remember the defensive coaches saying the week before when you had moved over, they liked the way that you had the receiver background, that you kind of could close on the ball. In fact, you could read, I guess a receiver maybe playing both those has a little bit of advantage at a safety in the fact that you're used to seeing the ball come out of the quarterback's hand and kind of can judge those types of things. And as the course of the year went on, they pretty much couldn't keep you off the field.
Yeah, I think it kind of does give me a different advantage because I think I see things differently than a lot of defensive guys. I kind of look at it as a quarterback, and I see the whole field, and I see if a guy is open. You know, naturally, if I was quarterback, I would throw that ball there too. So then, to me, that tells me, you know, should come down, make a play right there.
Now, last year you became an all-conference player, playing more, becoming the starter, playing the whole season. You come back this year as a preseason all-conference player, but a new defensive staff. How has your role, I guess, changed in this new type of defensive philosophy that this staff has?
I think now I'm more type of more in the run game. Safety's more needed in the run game a little bit more, and getting guys lined up, I guess I would say, like that, stuff like that, little small things.
Now, the other person I know we've talked about who their role changed, and they partly did it, is Robert Haynes. They moved him to what they call the wolf position. You've got another year. Is that a position that if you bulked up a little bit that you might move into that, or you think you're kind of a safety for the next 2 years?
I think I'm pretty set at safety for a little while, yeah.
Okay. Now, we also talk about that. The other thing that's interesting about you is you came in, didn't get to play the first year, and you're kind of on track to graduate. You're able to get that year back. Going into this year, I guess it's during this past summer that you kind of find out you had 2 years left as opposed to 1 year. Does that, I guess, takes a little bit of the sense of urgency off this year, but you still want to go out there and do good things?
Yeah. It gave me a little bit more room, but I still, you know, it's always got to have a sense of urgency because you never know. It could be taken like that. So, you know, you got to take advantage of every opportunity that you get.
Now, the Panthers are out there this year, 1-4, an off week this week. The one win is an OVC win, which is, at the end of the day, is what matters. You need to win the conference championship in order to lock up a playoff spot. I guess what's the mentality of the team right now, and what's the focus the next 2 weeks as you get ready for Eastern Kentucky, who looks like maybe one of the teams to beat in the league this year?
We're excited for the opportunity. We're definitely not, we're not backing down from anybody. We know everybody wants to come and take what we have. So, this week we're going to get after it, get ready. We got 2 weeks to prepare for EKU, and then I think we're going to be ready. We're going to be ready to go take it to the conference, yeah.
Now, we're kind of giving you a little bit of a trial run here. You're a comm studies major, want to possibly get into some TV broadcasts. You get to sit in front of, they don't get to see it as a green screen at home, but it's a green screen here in the studio. So I guess aspirations after football, is that kind of the path you want to take, or is maybe there even some thoughts that there might be some opportunities at football beyond college?
Right now, there's the thought that I have a little bit of opportunity with football after college, and so once my football path has, made its way and came to an end, yeah, I'd like to get interested in making a little move to kind of, communications on TV, on air, for sports type things like that.
All right, well, you did good on your first experience here in front of the green screen. You'll be able to see Jourdan hopefully next year right here on WIU when he does the News Watch cast. But for right now, we just got him here on Panther Sports Talk. That's going to wrap up this edition. As they go out for this week's edition of Panther Sports Talk, they're going to show some of the highlights from the game over at Ohio. Thanks for watching, everybody.
Now he goes in motion to the right. They hand it to him. No, they don't, and they sack Ionati. Robert Haynes was right in his lap and sacked him for about a 10-yard loss. They'll hand it to Duncan up the middle, and he's over for the touchdown for Eastern Illinois.
Eastern Illinois Panther football is on WEIU. OVC rivals meet as the Panthers of Eastern Illinois welcome the Racers of Murray State to O'Brien Field. It's the Panthers and Racers Saturday, November 8th at 12 on WEIU, your home for Panther football.
Stadium in Athens, Ohio for non-conference college football. It's the Eastern Illinois Panthers ready to take on the Bobcats of Ohio University. Here's the run-up and the approach, and we're underway. It's a high, very high kick. Comes to Gober at the 3-yard line. He's up to the 10, 15, 20. Steps out of a tackle 25, breaks outside 30, and is all the way out near the 35-yard line. A nice return by Keandre Gober, a junior out of Lubbock, Texas, to set Eastern up in pretty good field position. Out of the shotgun, Whitlow takes the snap, fakes the handoff, looks to pass, throws it over the middle, and is caught by Drake at the 45 to the 40, down to the Ohio 37. A big play to start the game. Adam Drake, who is second in the country in receiving, with a big one to start the game. Jimmy Lira's in the game to the right of Whitlow in the backfield. Out of the shotgun, Whitlow hands it to, keeps the right side, a lot of room, 35-30, cut back 25-20, 15-10, to the 8-yard line goes Whitlow as he kicked it into another gear and ran it right down the right hash mark for a big gain.
First and goal, Panther.
This is only going to be an 18-yard attempt into a little breeze from a tight angle at the left hash mark. Good snap, picked up, kick is good, and Eastern is on the board, but it's kind of a win on the goal line stand for Ohio, too. We've got a timeout with 12:39 to go in the first quarter. It's Eastern Illinois 3, Ohio nothing. Close in the shotgun. Lira is on his right. They motion Joe Powell through the backfield. Fake it to hand Whitlow, dumps it off in the flat, caught by Lira. Coming out to the 20, 25, lowers the shoulder, close to the first down, brought down at the 29. On 3rd and 8, they blitz, back to pass. Whitlow steps up, throws middle, caught by Lepak in Ohio territory for a first down at the 37. Good throw into some traffic. Lepak made the catch. Here's Sprague, back to pass, looking left, takes the short pass, now throws it to the left sideline, intercepted by Eastern at the 50 by Bradley Dewberry, and he falls down at the 47 of Ohio. Bradley Dewberry, a freshman, makes his first career interception. 3rd down and 10. Ohio blitzing. Here they come. Whitlow back. A lot of pressure. Dumps it off right side. Hits Duncan at the 40. Up to the 37, 35. Got a first down at the 33. Good job by Whitlow to see the blitz coming there and find the hot receiver Duncan in the right flat. Duncan, the running back, on 3rd and 6. Whitlow rolling out to the right. Deep drop. Setting up a screen back to the left to Shepard at the 30. Blockers. 25. Outside 20. 15. Nico Shepard to the 10 to the 7. Nico Shepard, the sophomore from Fort Lauderdale, caught the screen, got behind the offensive line, and went rambling for a big gain. On 3rd and goal inside the 1. Here's Whitlow on the call. Man in motion. They fake it to him. Whitlow on the keeper. Right side. Touchdown, Eastern Illinois. Whitlow ran off tackle, found the seam, and got over for the score. So the Dewberry interception leads to an Eastern touchdown with 8:05 to go in the first half. On the call, Panthers blitz. He runs option to the right, hits his back hole left, tripped up in the backfield, and down he goes at the 49 as Anthony Goodman came flying out of the secondary. The Bobcats take it at their 45. They're ahead 34-10. Here's Sprague, fake handoff, back to pass. A lot of time again. Now steps up, they grab him, and now they do sack him. Daniel Chisholm brings him down at the 44-yard line. First sack in the career of Daniel Chisholm, a sophomore out of Wheaton, Warrenville South High School. Here's Sprague, takes the snap. He's back. He's going to throw it up the left sideline, overshows the receiver. Intercepted. Anthony Standifer with his second interception of the year back at the 8-yard line.
Good job of playing the ball there.
Mix-up as I'm seeing between Sprague and the receiver. He overshot him by a lot. And Standifer backpedaling on the sideline, jumped up and made the pick. He hands it to Tim Edmond, backup running back, who's going to be tackled for a loss, and there's a penalty flag. Robert Haynes again comes in and makes a stop for about a 3-yard loss. Here's Whitlow on first down, looking to pass, going to throw it left sideline, caught by Joe Powell, out of bounds near the 40, spot him up at the 42, close to another first down. Second catch for Powell, the senior from Dallas, Texas. Back to pass, Whitlow on first down. Has to step up to avoid the rush. He's going to run to his right at the 40, up to the 45, 50, to a whole 40. Whitlow in a sprint to the 30, picks up blockers 20, 15. Whitlow upended at the 10-yard line. Saving the touchdown was Josh Kristoff as Whitlow on a scramble out of the pocket goes over 100 yards rushing on the day. Panthers at the Ohio 6-yard line. 2 wide outs each way. Whitlow out of the shotgun, back to pass, looking, throwing over the middle, touchdown, Anthony Taylor. Nice throw by Whitlow. Taylor was well covered by Nelson, and Whitlow gunned it in there, and Taylor held on with tight coverage on him for the touchdown.
Yeah, good drive there by the Panthers, all set up by Whitlow with the big scramble.
Here's Whitlow back, looking left, throwing middle, and caught by Lepak, close to the first down at the 14. They gave him a good spot, and it is a first down. Hand tackle, snap it. 24-yard try. Good snap, low snap. Drake picks it up. Bruno gets the kick up, and the kick is good. So a little confidence there for Bruno. Final score, Ohio 34, Eastern Illinois 19.
Production for Panther Sports Talk is brought to you in part by the following supporters of WEIU.